Okay, so we read the question here. Elasticity is an important economic measure, particularly for sellers of goods or services, because it indicates how much of a good or service buyers consume when the goods own price of related goods, and income, among other variables, changes. So suppose the demand function for good A is given by, so here we have a multivariable demand function, okay? Here it's not just the quantity and the price of the good, okay? The other factors that are included here, okay? So QA, this represents the quantity of good A, 520. This is the quantity of good A if the price of good A is 0, the income is 0, and the price of good B is 0. Then the quantity demanded for good A is 520. Okay. PA represents the price of good A. As you can see, since there's a negative sign here, so there is an inverse relationship, meaning if the price of good A goes up, the quantity of good A goes down. Okay. So the signs here, the signs are going to tell us a lot. Okay. Here, 0.6i, this is income. Since it's a positive sign here, it means if income increases, what happens to quantity demanded of good A? Since it's a positive sign, anybody to give it a try? Sure, colleagues. Okay, this positive sign, if the income increases, all right, the quantity of good A also increases, okay? So if income increases, quantity of good A increases. PB, this is the price of good B, okay? It's also positive. The sign is positive before the PB, this plus sign here, which tells us if the price of good P goes up, the quantity demanded for good A is also going to go up, okay? So this is how you interpret these equations, all right? You look at the sign before the variable. If it's negative, it means there's a negative relationship between the dependent variable, okay? Because here, quantity demanded for good A, this is the dependent variable, okay? And then these PA, I, and PB, these are the independent variables, okay? These are the ones that are going to influence quantity demanded of good A. Okay, so the signs before the independent variables are going to show you the relationship that independent variable has with the dependent variable. So if you see a negative, a minus sign, it means the price of good A, which is the independent variable, has a negative relationship with quantity of good A, the dependent variable. If you see a positive sign, it tells us that income, our independent variable, has a positive relationship with our dependent variable, quantity demanded. Meaning if income goes up, quantity demanded goes down. Are we okay with that, colleagues? Any questions? Okay, Vess, did anyone get to the explanation? Mr. Let's see. Mr. James, did you get the explanation? What was you who just said this now? Okay, okay. Mr. Kelly, did you get the explanation? Madam Joyce, Madam Lily, Mr. Peter. Hmm, colleagues, everyone is complaining of network. Madam Raquel, Mr. Fundochi. The sign which comes before the independent variable will tell you the relationship the independent variable has with inde- the relationship the independent variable has with the dependent variable. Have we all got that? The sign before the independent variable. Okay. The independent variables are here on their right. Sure. Who can see my screen? Yes. Try to do that. Okay. Try to put on flight mode. Yes. So let me repeat this again. Okay. And I believe this time people will hear. I believe some people just didn't want to say I've heard because they thought I would say explain it again. No, colleagues. Even though I ask you to explain it again, at least you will test your understanding. Okay? Because here it's all about the understanding. Yes, you're about to say something, sir? Okay. So as I said, the sign, let me even start this again so that okay. The sign is going to show you the relationship between the independent variables, okay, which are here, and the dependent variable. Quantity demanded for good A is dependent on three variables here. It's dependent on the price of good A, okay, it's dependent on income, and it's dependent on the price of good B, okay. So these independent variables, PA, I, and PB, the signs which come before the independent variables will show you the relationship the independent variable has with the dependent variable. So if we look at PA, if we focus on PA and QA, for PA, the sign here is a negative sign. Okay, this minus sign here. So what is telling us there is a negative relationship between PA and QA. Are we okay with that, colleagues? Because of this minus sign, there's a negative relationship between PA and QA. So if PA goes up, what will happen to QA? If there's a negative relationship. If PA goes up, what will happen to QA? Yes. When we come to I, okay, we see there is a positive sign here. So there is a positive relationship between I and QA, income and the quantity demanded for good A. So since this is a positive relationship, if I increases, what will happen to QA? Thank you. Then finally, PB, same scenario. Okay, it has a positive sign. So just as we said, if PB increases, QA increases. Okay, that was what I was explaining earlier on. Okay, so I hope everyone has got that. Okay, so they're telling us where PA, the goods on price, I is income, and PB is the price of a related good to A. Suppose you are given that PA equals 10, I equals 700, and PB equals 21. Find the quantity demanded at the given prices of goods and individual income. Okay. So basically what they're telling us here is where there's PA, substitute with 10. Where there's I, substitute with 700. There's PB, substitute with 21. Okay. So we are going to do that. So this is going to equal to 520 minus 20, where there's PA, substitute 10. So here we'll put 10 plus 0.6 I. So where there's I, substitute 700 plus 2.9 PB. So where there's PB, we substitute with 21. All right, colleagues. So let's substitute. Let's see what values we get. Let's get our calculators. So 520, 20 times 10, that's 200 minus 200 plus, what is 0.6 times 700? 420 plus 2.9 times 21. 60.9. Whoever gives yes, whoever gives a wrong value, colleagues, please point them out. Okay. So you say that six what? 62.9. 2.9 times 21. Okay. Okay. I thought we'd get something in the 40s since 20 times 2, but anyway. That this point nine has changed things. So yeah, 60.9. Okay, colleagues. Yes. So let's do 520 minus 200 plus 420 plus 60.9. 800.9. Okay. Colleagues, confirm. Yes. Any questions? Wonderful. Show, next part is show and indicate whether the related good is a substitutable or complementary good. Colleagues, what's a substitute good and what's a complementary good? Let's start with a substitute good. What is a substitute good? Colleagues, we watch soccer and we see substitutes. So I believe we all know what a substitute. Can someone just tell us what a substitute good is? Mr. Peter? Sure. Ah, ah. Okay, you don't want any sport where they have substitutes. Uh, I know maybe boxing there are no substitutes in boxing and okay, Mr. James. Yes, that's yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let me just read Mr. James. A good that can be used in replacement of another good. Coca-Cola and Pepsi, beef and chicken, tea or coffee. Okay. You can, if you see the price of, like, for example, Coca-Cola and Pepsi, if you see Pepsi, the price goes up, you go for Coca-Cola. Okay. Yes. And then a complementary good. I remember we even discussed this and we used the analogy for baking. Yes. These are, although, madam, you have to go a bit further, okay? Because when you just say compliment someone else, what do you mean by compliment each other? Yes. These are goods that are used together with another good and by themselves, okay, they are of little use or of no use, okay. As the example, the tea and the sugar, okay. Which one's the complementary good there? It's the sugar, yes. Okay. The tea, you can drink tea alone. Okay. You can drink tea alone, although it's most preferable with sugar. Okay. So sugar is the one. Sugar by itself, no one eats sugar by themselves. Okay. I've never seen someone just buy a packet of sugar and you're eating it. Yes. Okay. Even phone and screen protector. Screen protector is a complementary good. Okay. Because if there's no phone, that screen protector is of no use. Okay. Yes. Now, colleagues, we have to remember how the price of either a substitute good or a complementary good, excuse me, or a complementary good affects the demand of our main good. Okay. So in this case here, okay, we have two goods, good A and good B. Okay. PB, price of good B. Okay. So we're dealing with two goods, good A and good B. So now, first we have to be able to classify if good B is either a substitute or if good B is a complementary good. And how we can tell that is from the signs. Now, before we go to answer that question, I want us to think of this intuitively, okay? When we looked at substitute goods, right, when we said Coca-Cola and Pepsi, so in this case, let's say Pepsi is the substitute good. If the price of Pepsi goes up, what will happen to the quantity demanded of Coca-Cola? Yes. So here, as we saw, PB has a positive relationship with QA. If the price of PB goes up, it means people stop buying PB, I mean the good B, and they're going to start buying good A. All right. So our good B is a substitute good just because of this sign here. Okay, this positive sign. Okay. If the price of a substitute good goes up, the demand for your good is going to go up because that substitute good has become expensive and people will switch from buying it and buy the other good, which in this case is good A. Any questions? Yes. Then if you see a negative sign, it's a complementary good. Let's go back to the tea and sugar. Okay. If the price of sugar goes up, you'll be reluctant to buy tea because especially for most of us who drink tea with sugar, you'll be reluctant to buy tea. You'll be like, now sugar is expensive. I'm drinking tea without sugar. No, I can't. I can't manage. Yes, you can substitute it. You can substitute it with honey. Although here we just will look at the between the two. Okay. But yes, in real life you can substitute it with honey. If the price of sugar goes up, you can substitute it with honey. Um, But in this theoretical example, we're putting it in a situation, it's just tea and sugar. Okay, so that we get why the negative sign. When you say negative sign for the price of the other good, you can relate it to a complementary. Okay. If the price of the complementary goes up, okay, usually the demand for the good will also go down because since, like with the tea and sugar example, since sugar is expensive, there's no point of drinking tea. So you might stop buying tea altogether, or you buy less amounts of tea. So if the sign is positive, substitute. If the sign is negative, complementary good. So in this example here, good B is a substitute because good B is because of this positive sign. It's positive here. Good B is a substitute good. Any questions? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. So it's up. I had to put the new. So the demand equation becomes like this: QA. Wait, PA was given. Yeah, then it's just 800.9 because all these values were substituted. So you just get an answer. So we can round it off and say 801 units. The individual income, this I equals 700. We substituted it here. Remember, these three values here that have been given in the question, we all substituted them into our demand function. Okay, that's how we got that 801 units. Oh, yes. Kylie, in this case, we've just been given one demand equation. Okay. If we were given two, they would have even indicated find the equilibrium price, equilibrium quantity. Okay. But here you're just dealing with one equation. Mhm. Okay, use the income elasticity of demand for good A to intuitively classify good A. Okay, so first we need to understand what is income elasticity of demand. In economics, elasticity means sensitivity or how something responds. Okay, elasticity, let me just put that down. Yes, elasticity, just think of it as sensitivity or responsiveness. Okay, so when we say income elasticity of demand, okay, it is how quantity demanded. Maybe I should write this down. Let me see. Income elasticity of demand. How quantity demanded responds to changes in income. Okay, that's income elasticity of demand. How quantity demanded responds to changes in income. Okay, so if you say the income elasticity of demand is elastic What that means is quantity demanded is very responsive to changes in income. Meaning if income increases even by 1%, quantity demanded will increase by a higher amount. Okay. So when you hear the word elastic, when you hear demand is elastic, it just means demand is very sensitive to changes in income or changes in price. Okay. When you hear demand is inelastic, it means just think of a rubber band, okay? When you think of this elasticity, when you stretch a rubber band, it's elastic. It responds to how much you stretch it. When it's inelastic, if you try to stretch it, it doesn't respond, okay? So when demand is inelastic, it means it doesn't, quantity demanded doesn't change that much when your income levels change, okay? So your income level can change by 50%, but you find the quantity demanded maybe might rise just by 10% or 2%, okay? Any questions before I go further? Now, this income elasticity of demand can help us to determine if a good is a normal good or an inferior good, okay? Depending on the value of the coefficient, which is the number before the letter which represents income, okay? Colleagues, what is a normal good? In economics, a normal good is when your income increases, you buy more of it, okay? If your salary increases, you can buy more bread, you can buy more mealie meal, you can buy more sugar, you can buy more tea, you can buy more fuel, okay? Those are normal goods. When your income increases, you buy more of them, okay? If your income reduces, you buy less of them. So if your salary is cut down, you find a lot of the groceries you get, you buy less of them. Are we okay with that definition of a normal good? Then an inferior good is where when your income rises, you stop buying that good. Okay. So think of shake shake as an inferior good, okay, because I don't think that will pain anybody. Okay, because it's really hard to give examples of inferior goods because you'll come out maybe you won't feel nice. Just you feel that unsettledness if you just mention, like, if you say carpenter is an inferior good, it's not an inferior good. Okay, so inferior goods. So I'll use shake shake because no one will be touched by that. When your income rises, you stop buying shake shake. You're going to start buying something more expensive, lagers, okay, or maybe whiskeys and the likes, okay. But if your income reduces, then you switch back to the shake shake and you start buying, okay. So normal good, income rise, you buy more. Inferior good, income rise, you buy less. You buy something, start buying better stuff, okay. So all of this can also be determined by the coefficients again, okay. So if you see a positive coefficient, like here, positive coefficient, this positive 0.6. Remember we said, since it's a positive relationship, we said if income increases, We said quantity of good A also increase, right? Earlier on in the class, we said that, right? Yes. So we can already see that good A is a thing. It's a normal good. Okay. But since they want us to use income elasticity of demand, we'll have to do a bit of calculus so that we solve. It's not a lot of solving, but just a bit of solving, just to verify that this is a normal good. So let me erase this here. Did I do calculus with you guys before? I haven't done calculus with you, huh? Okay. Okay, here you have to partially differentiate this equation with respect to I. Okay, you put this symbol. We're partially differentiating. This is where now people start hearing Greek. Colleague, just pay attention, okay? Don't ignore the symbols for now. Just see the concept that's happening, okay? So we're partially differentiating this demand function with respect to I. So what this is saying here is basically in this equation here, if any number doesn't have an I with it, they disappear. Okay? If any number doesn't have an I, it disappears. So this 520 doesn't have an I. This PA doesn't have an I. This 2.9 doesn't have an I. The only one with an I is this 0.6 I here. Okay? So it means we're just going to differentiate this one here only. Okay? So with differentiation, this is how you do it. This I, it's like I to the power 1. Okay? When you see a letter by itself, it's like to the power 1. Okay? So with differentiation, the exponent, this power 1, multiply it with the coefficient, 1 times 0.6, you get 0.6. Then this same exponent, subtract a 1 from it, 1 minus 1, that is 0. Any questions before I move further? Anything to the power 0 is 1. So you don't even need to put I to the power 0. Okay. So, yes. So this positive coefficient here, since this is a positive number, it tells you that your good is a normal good. Okay. If it was negative, it will tell you your good is an inferior good. Okay. So that's what you do. You just partially differentiate and you look at the number. Is it positive or negative? And then you'll be able to say if the good is a normal uh, complementary good.